And hello, Internet peeps. We are back for another edition of Big Trouble Little Podcast, episode 245. I'm Joe Dubs.
I'm Andy.
I'm Zach.
Okay.
He froze.
Hey guys, what's up? I froze. It was the internet, not me. I didn't fall asleep. Just kidding. It was a callback to our old days whenever there was a delay, but it always moves in a rotation, so I assumed Zach was going to go next. So
He did.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Usually,
it was a delay though.
Usually on the other side. That is real.
Yeah.
But yes,
It's all good, though.
we are back at the final movie in the Eastern Samurai themed movies that were picked by Andy, and we also threw a bonus Rashomon since Zach was partying on Memorial Day and vacationing. So
That's right.
but the final movie is Ran. Who knows how to say it? Ron.
I ran.
I think it's supposed to be Ron. I mean, the name of it is like one kanji. I don't know how to read kanji, but if you write it out in hiragana, it'd be Ra and N. So I think Ron. I think. I don't know. I'm stupid though, so don't believe me.
And I just found out. I mean, I know you probably said it throughout all the weeks that we did in podcasts, but I just found this is a Kurosawa movie.
Yeah,
that's quite funny.
Kurosawa's back and Nakadai's back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
holy shit!
let's talk about this movie because
Let me set the stage real quick because
Okay.
I have a bit of a package for this movie. We have watched Dubs. You and I watched Throne of Blood, and then you and I and Zach we watched High and Low and Yojimbo, and then now as four with Chaz we've watched Rashomon, Seven Samurai. Am I missing any? There's all the Kurosawa movies we've seen up until now, right?
correct.
Pretty
Yes.
sure.
Okay. I have made a point after watching several of those movies to be like, yeah, Kurosawa, he always has happy endings and he likes to look on the bright side of things and he likes to have optimism as like a cheeky misdirection for his later career. This movie is made by a very different man than the one that made Rashomon and Seven Samurai and even High and Low. In the early 70s, Kurosawa wasn't popular anymore. His movies weren't making money. He made a movie. He couldn't find funding at all. So he and three other great Japanese directors all like formed a company so that they could just like find funding on their own and make a movie. And they only ever made one movie, Kurosawa's Dodeska Den, and it failed so hard their company fell apart. Dodeska Den is okay. It's an all right movie. It's worth seeing once. It's honestly one of his weakest movies. And then he went right back to where he was. He couldn't find funding for any of his movies, and everyone was like, he's a washed-up has-been. Kurosawa sucks, and he drinks too much. And he made a made-for-TV documentary about horse racing. I've never seen it. It's the only thing he ever made for television. And then after that, he couldn't find funding again, so he tried to kill himself. He slit his wrists and neck and tried to kill himself and failed. And his health started getting a little better. And he said, well, I guess I'm just going to step out of the public eye. I'm not going to make film anymore. 1973 or 4 rolls around and Mosfilm, the Russian film company, the Soviet film company, I guess I should say, comes to him and they say, hey, we want to finance one of your movies. He says, okay, I guess I'm in the movie making business again. He goes and makes Desert Uzala, I think is how it's pronounced. That movie's fantastic. That movie's a masterpiece, but that's not what we're talking about. So he's kind of back, but in Japan, that movie still flopped. It just did really well in Russia and abroad, in Europe and the United States. So he still can't get funding. So a couple more years pass, and in 1977, this movie comes out. You guys might have heard of it. Star Wars. You ever heard of Star Wars?
Yeah, I heard of it.
Star Wars comes out, and George Lucas loves Kurosawa, and he's one of the new Hollywood directors, and they all love Kurosawa. And he finds out that Kurosawa can't find funding for his movies, is not making anything, can't get anyone to pay for anything. So George Lucas meets him. I don't remember where they there's some famous meeting where they meet, and he says, "Well, I'll find funding for your movie. I just made Star Wars, and I'm super famous now." So he goes to Fox and he says, "I want you guys to fund Kurosawa's next movie." And Fox says, "Well, I don't know if we're gonna do that." So he calls his buddy Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola, and says, "Hey, I need you to help me convince Fox to fund Kurosawa's next movie." Coppola says, "Fuck, I'll do it." So Fox and Francis Ford Coppola funded Kurosawa's next film, Kagemusha. Kagemusha has been said by Kurosawa to be a dress rehearsal for Ron, because it takes place kind of in the same period. It has a lot of big fancy costumes and sword stuff in it, but it's a much smaller story. It's a Prince and the Pauper thing. It's some poor guy looks exactly like the daimyo, so they hire him to portray the leader during some big battle, and through some weird circumstance, the daimyo, the great lord, dies, and then this poor guy and all the people who know that he replaced him die, so no one realizes that he's just a peasant who's pretending to be the great lord. And that's the plot of the movie. It's actually really good. But and then after that, he got funding through, as you guys saw, this French company to make this movie. And this is a movie he had wanted to make for a very long time. And it didn't start out as an adaptation of King Lear, but it became that. It's very obviously an adaptation of King Lear. When you watch it, you're like, "Oh, this is a fucking Shakespeare story." He painted, they storyboard stuff. Usually it's an animation, but they do it in movies too. Instead of drawing out storyboards, he painted what he wanted every scene to look like, and that's why the scene is fucking wonderful and full of color. And one more minor detail: while he was making this movie, his wife died. So that's also kind of a factor. But this movie took years to make. It was super expensive, had a ton of extras in it. And then finally, Kurosawa was back on top. This movie comes out, it does well domestically and internationally. And they tried to nominate it for Best Foreign Picture, but due to some mix-up, it didn't get nominated. So Sidney Lumet campaigned to have him nominated as Best Director at the Oscars that year, which he was nominated, but he obviously didn't win. I just wanted to set the stage a little bit, because the man who made Seven Samurai is very much not the man who made Ron. I think he went through a whole bunch of shit to get to where we're at now. And the ending of this movie is so unlike all of his other movies, because his movies are always "But don't worry, everything was okay." But if you look at it this way, it's really nice. Look, he died of cancer, but at least he left a mark on the world. It's so wonderful. Not in Ron. At the end of Ron, it's this is hell. Man has created hell on earth, and either the gods hate man or the gods are scared of man, but it doesn't matter. Whichever one it is, it sucks. But anyway, I just want to set the stage a little bit. What did you guys think of Ron? Did you hate this movie or what?
No, I liked it. It's just that the raw emotions in me in this movie, where I was like, "Hey, the father's an asshole, and maybe the third son, I'm just gonna color code them, by the way,
blue,
even though I know one Taro,
Saburo,
Saburo. You're just like, hey, son's an asshole. He's being all jealous that the Taro is being picked and shit." And you're just like, fuck that guy. And then later on, you're just like, oh, he loves his father. And he's the only one, the other two sons are fucking assholes and stuff. And you're just like, this is where the raw emotion comes out of me. And I know I'm jumping around, but literally when the father's like, "I'm going to tell you so many stories. It's going to be great. We're going to have a father-son relationship." Boom, fucking dead. I was like, no, this movie fucking sucks. As far as raw emotions. And I was like, this is better not end where it is. But then I got my satisfaction. Now I understand.
Yeah, they give you something to end the movie with.
I understand. What's so great about this movie is like it's purposely left out of showing the father and the family lineage of them pretty much probably raping and pillaging, her family out of the castle and stuff. So you have
they say what happened, but you don't see it. Like
Yeah.
he was a real son of a bitch for decades. Like he killed all these people and burned down castles and stuff. They say it, but they don't show it. All we ever see is a nice old man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's purposely done that way. But like, if you peel the layer of the, onion and stuff, you'll probably be like, hey, she's getting her revenge. And she did do her mission where she was burning down literally the family, which she...
Lady Kaede is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I loved in our chat, you said, man, I hate Taro's wife. And I knew it was early on because you called her Taro's wife.
I was like, oh shit.
Strap in, buddy.
Woo, you don't like her now. Just wait.
Mhm.
By the way, if it makes it easier, the three are definitely Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. If it makes it easier, they definitely are.
That's why
the
Blue's
three.
the best one. That's right.
Bulbasaur was first, so that's why he becomes king first. Charmander's the one that like fucks everything up, but everyone likes him for some stupid reason. And
Correct.
Squirtle's the hero that everyone should love and dies in the end. It's really sad.
I also like made a thing. I was like, oh, the father is like retiring, right? He's like taking his pension and he's just gonna chill around. And then the son's like, nah, bitch, we're taking your pension away. Get the fuck out of town. And literally from there, it's just like, you hated the father in the beginning because he was like acting irrational. Like even the witnesses are like, dude, you're acting like an idiot. Stop it. Like, what are you doing? And
he did kill a guy with a sweet bow shot from all the way up in a tower, though. That was
Hell yeah, it
pretty
is.
fucking sick.
Don't you fuck with my jester.
And he looks pissed off when he does it. Too.
It was amazing.
Holy shit.
I was like,
His
badass.
Can we just talk about that? His facial expressions. First off, his fucking hair is crazy. So his facial expressions, and as he unravels throughout, like, they're wonderful.
Again,
so wonderful.
For anyone who didn't put it together, Hidetora, the old man, he's Tatsuya Nakadai. He's the guy from Harakiri. He's the guy from Sword of Doom. Like, dude can act with his face for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I actually tried to nail down the part where Zach was like, marked out and stuff.
I know what it was. It was this part.
Yes.
I had to slow it up because I know Zach was like, "Oh, there's one part where I marked out and I shouted yes." And I was like, "I know what part it was."
That's what I did. I literally went yes uncontrollably when that happened.
I just wonder how much of this
he means
movie.
the part where Lady Kaede gets hammer blooded to death.
Where the heel gets put away and it's over.
Yeah, I almost wonder how much of it too is like when you're talking about like differences in endings, because the ending of this movie is so similar but so different than Seven Samurai. It's similar in the fact that you get this gut punch at the resolution in the shot. It echoes exactly how the one of the, I can't remember his name now, the badass. Sorry, it started with a K, didn't it? The guy that was like the really stoic warrior that like he's probably the best fighter amongst all of them. And the younger Kuragane, yeah, he looked up to him. No, Kuragane is the one in this one. I'm talking about the older, in Seven Samurai.
Takashi Shimura. I can never remember that.
Yeah, but when he gets shot, and then the younger guy who looked up to him so much, it's like, this is so unfair. Why? Like that echoes the same thing in this movie at the end when Saburo gets shot so unjustly, and then just finally it's just the last piece that he can take, and that's when Hidetora dies. But I almost wonder if this movie is supposed to rip you apart emotionally.
Yes.
To the point that it forces you to feel justification and be satisfied enough with Kaede being killed like that. It almost reflects again how human nature has led to these people, basically tearing themselves apart for sake of war. We're supposed to kind of settle with ourselves that we are just animals. Again, I know I took a deep dive in this because this movie makes you really think shit. I needed CBD gummies that I couldn't have, so so I had to settle with something else. Like it just made me feel like this movie almost made me fuel and feel so angry about things, and like having to try to fulfill that rage is the only way to find some type of satisfaction in the ending, because otherwise it's just so distraught. Which again, like you said, this is classic King Lear Shakespearean tragedy in that essence too. But the characters are complex. And the very ending of the movie is completely spilled out in the first 10-15 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just listen and watch how they're like the entire time, nothing is ever actually. It's very superficial. So it's easy like to get played out, and it's almost like the perspective of Hidatora is what you see at first, because it's clear. Oh yeah, Saburo is just jealous and whatever, but it's actually pretty easily. It's a thin veil. Saburo is just very blunt. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like fuck tradition. I'm just going to say what's on my mind because it's for the good of our people, or good of our family. And the other two are snakes. They'll say whatever they need to get what they think is best for them. And they even foreshadow and say, we're dogs of war. Like we think we pray to the war god. If you give us power, we're going to fuck this up. And the old man is simply, he spent all this time, toiling all this blood over the land to rule all of it. And he's caused all this shit, and now it's time for him to try to settle and find peace, and he just simply doesn't know how to make peace. And that's why he gives up to pass it on to someone else, whether it's through him earning it, or if it's because he's trying to take the easy way out. He ends up actually putting himself on a path of destruction. But that's what happens, and it all of it plays out in the first 15 minutes if you pay attention. And you're like, well, strap in. The next 2.5 hours is gonna fucking suck. And it does it beautifully. It beautifully sucks, and it's very red.
You got to remember, you got to break all this stuff out so we can discuss it. You can't just dump it all at once.
No, I can keep dumping. I can talk for another hour without stopping. I took another Adderall before the show. I'm fucking ready.
So you're ready to make Tony Khan announcements where you don't blink or anything?
What's out in the fields for 9 days? No.
Thanks, guys. Tonight at Collision, and he just doesn't blink. His eyes are like as big as saucers. It's like, Jesus, what the hell?
Wait, is this mic on? Autism Activate tonight for the very first time. CM Punk. No, okay, we'll move on. I'm sorry, we're doing wrestling jokes now.
Kurosawa did Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones was cool. I'm just gonna say that because literally, I had a red wedding moment in this fucking movie.
Well, again, you got to remember, give credit to the Bard here, because this is just, I mean, he changes some stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is just King Lear.
This is
Shakespeare did Game of Thrones before.
Yeah, exactly right. Shakespeare did Game of Thrones before any motherfucker knew anything about telling a story.
Speaking of which, Dubs, if you've never watched it, or if anyone out there listening, if you've never seen King Lear, there are several adaptations. There's an adaptation where Ian McKellen plays King Lear. He also did, I think, a couple of live Broadway where he did it. And at one point, like one of the scenes, if I remember correctly, like he goes completely unraveling mad, and he's just like fucking stark ass naked out on stage, and is just losing his mind. Like it's supposed to be like, in terms of playwright, in modern age, it's supposed to be one of the best scenes ever acted by any individual. It's supposed to be brilliant. But that being said, you should definitely either read and or watch King Lear. It's very, very good.
I've never seen it or read it, so I'll probably check.
The joke. I call this Suzaku Castle King Lear because Street Fighter. But
yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, you were saying there was a scene Red Wedding?
No, I was just saying like it felt very Games of Thrones as far as like all the backstabbing and shit and all the crazy chaos. But as far as like the crazy chaos, there is likable characters. Lady Sue and her brother, which have every right just as much as Lady whatever her fucking name is, the cunt. I'm just gonna call her cunt. Lady
For
cunt.
that matter, Sue.
Yeah, Sue, or and her brother, which by the way, the Lord, the old man, yeah, he gouged his eyes out and he's blind and shit. And for like a split second when he's like, I'm gonna play this flute, like I just got like flashbacks of like YouTube memes of the the recorder of Jurassic Park just playing. I thought he was just gonna play the flute very terribly. He had to like a reaction of like freaking out. Yeah.
Anybody for a second? I know I'm skipping all the way to the very end of the
ending scene
movie.
with the brother.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to bring up. The ending.
There's a delay.
I was just like, oh fuck, and then like, yeah, and then like the the Buddha stuff, shining back at him. It's just like fuck, man. Like even when he's like trying to, because she like pushes him to believe in Buddha, and maybe he was gonna believe in Buddha at some point, but he doesn't. Obviously, I don't. He will eventually know that his sister's never coming back because her fucking head's cut off.
She did.
Because of orders from Lady Cunt. But man, that was a rough ending.
It's
But Chaz, what were you gonna bring up?
Real quick, you said like she's trying to like force Buddha on him. He says, "Well, I don't really go in for that stuff like my sister does." That's important too, but it's more. I don't know. This is my reading of it, but like at the very end, they're just talking about how the gods have turned their back on man, or they're terrified of man.
Yeah, they're weeping for them. Yeah.
Everyone is dead or dying or ruined, and this blind man who was protected by the Buddha loses the Buddha, and he's no longer protected. A blind man, like the very symbol of like being vulnerable. He's alone in the world. There's no one coming to help him, and the superficial semblance of God protecting him is now lost to him as well. Like it's like it's the exclamation point to the story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that I could be a better director than Kurosawa. That's not the point at all.
Yeah, you are.
If there could be a blooper or just an alternate version of this movie where everything is exactly the same except the very last like minute of the film, and the blind guy does the same thing where he's walking out toward the edge there and he's about to lose it, but instead he just slips on like a banana peel and then just falls off. That's how I would end the movie.
Sounds like a Robot Chicken sketch.
You know what else?
Just the whole movie's the same, and then that's the only bit. He just slips.
I thought you were gonna.
It still does the Buddha thing and everything. The Buddha still like it opens up and unravels where it's like still giving a symbol back to him, but he falls off. I just think that's really sad.
I thought you were gonna say it was just gonna be straight. He just falls off and fucking dies, like Mortal Kombat 2 fatality.
Oh no, he does die. He does die, but it's got to be a banana peel. It's just for
That's not how I would have done it that way.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't get paid to direct movies.
I also would have done the part where like his sister's like, I forgot what she mentions, but she's like, it's just over there, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, she's blind, bitch. He doesn't know where over there is. And I was
the same thing. I laughed pretty fucking hard at that scene. Actually, I know that she didn't mean like it hit her in a different way too, but I totally laughed super hard at the same thing.
Well, you gotta look, because after she says that, she like kind of turns back to him and puts her head down a little bit, and it's real subtle, but like she becomes aware of what she said, and it's not funny to her, it's tragic. Her puzzle's blind. She's like, oh my god.
I think that's the thing, is watching the movie, I'm desensitized with all the other tragedy that's happened. So she says that to him, and I laughed, but then like you said, she puts her head down, and I'm like, oh, she just realized what she said. Like it hits a different way after, but yeah, it is funny at first. I was like, why'd you say that? You dummy! I can't see.
Look, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I think this movie is, I mean, obviously it's a tragedy, so of course it's heartbreaking, but I think this movie is just like capital rough. Like I've seen this movie a few times now, and I feel like every time I see it, it makes me more upset. I don't know if that makes any sense, but at the end, when Saburo gets shot and dies, I like actually cried. Like I don't know if that's something I want out there on the internet, but no, I cried at this movie. I thought about that meme. Oh, he didn't even cry at the end of Titanic. Does he even have feelings? And then it's the picture of the guy, and then insert thing to the meme. End of this movie for me, man.
Dude, I need IV fluids after watching Finding Dory. Don't fucking. It's okay to cry. Grown ass men cry. It's cool.
No, yeah, I'll cry in movies, but I got messed up a little bit.
I wept during the ending of the movie. Also, there's something you said in the chat, and I didn't realize what you meant, but I did it too, and I realized after that's what you meant, and I was like, okay, now I get why. After I watched the movie, I actually went back and watched the scene where the castle falls.
Oh, it's the best part of the movie.
Holy fuck, that is! It is like so cool to see, but it is so fucking brutal. Just that there's the piece. It's really more of like an ensemble. They're just or not an ensemble, but montage rather, where they're no longer really showing like specific action pieces. They're just showing like repeated scenes of just death and despair, while like just really subtle music plays in the background behind it.
It's beautiful music too, like
it's
really
beautiful
good music. Yeah,
yeah, and it is so unsettling.
Yeah, it's terribly beautiful. It's beautifully terrible. I don't know.
It is. It's so unnerving to watch.
And it's so cool because like it's all going on, and then Taro comes into the shot, like the victorious general, and he's right in the middle of the shot. And then the second he gets shot, it snaps back to the actual dialogue. Oh God, it's so cool. It's so well edited. I love it so much. And that's another thing that shows when Kurosawa made this movie, he was thinking internationally. Because unfortunately, when you watch these movies, and I'm going to sound like a huge dork here in a second, but when you watch these movies, you're reading the subtitles. So you're trying to read the subtitles and look at what the characters are doing. That's important in a movie like this to see like someone's facial expression, or, oh, she looked down after she said, look over there, because she realized he was blind, that kind of thing. After I watched the siege on the third castle again, I kind of jumped around to some other scenes and I turned the subtitles off. Because I'd just seen the movie, I know what happens. So I just watched the characters act, not knowing Japanese. The movie's still super entertaining. Like, I still really like it. And it's kind of a shame that you miss stuff in a movie this beautiful because you're reading the very important dialogue. But I think Third Castle is Kurosawa saying, look, I don't care what language you know. When you watch the scene, you're going to be moved because it's beautiful and it's just music and the tragedy of war. So I don't know. I think this is one of the best movies he ever made. I objectively, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that goes back to like what I was trying to pinpoint where Zach marked out, because there was like a lot of mark out scenes. One with the bow and arrow.
What else besides Kaede getting killed?
The bow and arrow guy, you know, killing the dude that's about to kill the jester. The fucking horse fucking checking the one guy where he just like bumps the fucking dude.
Yeah, I was saying in another chat, the fucking stuntmen in this movie are so... There's no way that guy's leg wasn't broken. There's no way. I tried to look it up, but like, you know, that's how you kill soldiers, is you run them down with your horse. This stuntman gets knocked down by a horse and then trampled. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. And like, there's just dudes are falling off horses left and right in this movie. Like,
I mean, we also Superman that way. Like, not even a couple years after all this.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Like, I'm not even making a joke. It's a fact. It happened. We ended up with the fucking bullshit DC universe all because of a fucking horse trampling another guy. Just think about that.
No, I mean, the quest for peace caused that. So, you know.
Whatever.
No, that movie's fucking awful. There's that caused Christopher Reeve to get paralyzed. It's setting forth that set of events for that to happen.
The horse crushed his body, but that movie crushed his spirit. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Speaking of Zach marking out, Zach, you did something you very seldom do when we watch these movies. After you watched this movie, you came to me and said, I watched this movie. And like, I could tell you really wanted to talk about it. And I was having a really hard time not like diving all the way in because I really wanted to.
No, I kind of wanted to too. And I was just like, I'm just going to say a couple things real quick and leave it at that and then read about it, which I did. And I learned about, the painting of the storyboards. And
did you look him up? Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw a couple of them.
That's so cool.
What are the thing? It was like the opposite of a mark out when Saburo got shot. I yelled, no! I was just like, no! Damn it!
I didn't realize fully what exactly happened when it happened, but it's just because my ADHD is watching. But it took just literally a split second because he just like stopped moving, and then and I just went, oh no.
Well, there's like a delay. It's like you hear a gunshot, and then for like a second or two, it seems like nothing's wrong.
You don't know what happened,
and then he just slumps against his father and just flops off of the horse.
Oh,
Kudos to Kurosawa, by the way. That's actually how it would happen, because a lot of times in movies we get the whole gunshot, you hear, and then like someone reacts. No, someone would actually get hit, and you would see the reaction of what would happen to them getting shot before you'd actually hear it, depending on the distance, because that's how fucking science works.
Yeah,
so
people don't
that
fly
was
back.
Really cool.
And shit from being shot. In fact, like, a lot of people, when they get, especially like in a war or something, when they get shot in a battle or some kind of fight, sometimes it doesn't even register. It's not until after you're done, and then you're like, oh shit, I was shot, and then you just kind of collapse. But yeah, I liked all the stuff in this movie. I remember telling you though before I watched it, I was like, I've always wanted to see this movie ever since I first found out about it. Before I even I dug into who Kurosawa was, is like I was looking on the internet at best movies ever, some bullshit like 20 years ago, and just the shots of Ron and stuff. Like, this movie looks cool. I don't know.
This movie, it helps it stick out because of the way they choose the colors. It was such a brilliant idea. I mean, again, and it's not just like he originally just comes up with it all on his own. The colors are also representative of some of the folklore and things he used in the film, because it is still based on some things historically, and that's how it's wrapped around King Lear. But using those colors, especially with how bright they are and how they contrast one another, it is so beautiful, especially on so many of the backgrounds he has with like the black. It's not really sand, but or whatever, like the
plane.
Black,
it's like black.
Plane is black. Yeah. It is like, it's just, again, it just makes the red stick out so much more, which also makes the blood stick out. I know this is also a certain, like, it's because of the age of when this movie's made. It actually has that 80s aesthetic because it's made mid 80s.
It's got like a weird neo technicolor look to it.
Yeah, so like blood, everything looks like fresh can of ragu when it comes out.
Japanese hammer blood. That's what
right.
it was. Yeah. Bright red. And then dude, there was like that shot. Oh, I can't forget that. The castle, the first castle that falls, when he's sitting up there and just all the shits, the arrows are flying around and the castle's catching on fire. And it shows like up that stairwell, there's that guy slumped over. He's been shot by arrows and stuff, and there's just blood like pouring. Like it's like nobody has that much blood. It's not going to come out that quickly.
But it looks too cool. Like
it looks really cool.
Yeah. This is what led to Mortal Kombat being made. We were like, you know what bodies need? They need more body parts and like an nominal amount of blood. Like we just need to have like far too much blood. It's like 8 bodies when someone explodes a body, and
you need to hit guys so hard like 8,000 femurs fly out of him.
The blood in this movie, both figuratively and maybe literally, for all I know, is paint. Like it's painting a picture in the scene. You were talking about the way the colors pop against the cool background. The beginning of this movie, the first hour or so, is full of shots that I love, where a door opens or closes, but usually opens to reveal like something going on. I love when I love when Taro's general turns up to take over the third castle, and the doors open, and you can see like there's a bunch of motherfuckers in there already, like on the horses, getting ready to leave, and they're like, "You can have this castle. We're going to our lord, motherfucker." And they like leave. When the doors open, it looks so great. And also, when Hidetora leaves his second son's Jiro's castle.
When he gets mad and he storms out.
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. Like they use those big doors to such great dramatic effect. And it looks so cool. I love it.
It's funny, like the final Saburo and that other army, but like when they're looking at each other from the valleys and stuff, like across, I was like, that's a fucking cool shot. I've just seen them looking at, and I love the part where he's like, oh, they're fucking decoy. We got to go back to the castle. I was like, that's fucking awesome. The strategy that they used and stuff. But yeah, like, I also wanted to make a joke because you brought up Mortal Kombat and the blood. I was like, this is what Ed Boon like looked at, the blood, and then also the colors: Scorpion with yellow, fucking Sub-Zero blue, and then green reptile and all that stuff.
I mean, there's actually some truth to that. Have you ever seen that before? There's actually truth to early concepts of Mortal Kombat. The colors are actually based and inspired by this movie.
Really?
Yeah, look
cool.
at it. Literally, the yellow and blue are the yellow and blue that are used. Like it's the same color. Yeah, it's so like this movie had an inspiration to that. And it makes a lot of sense. Again, there's a lot of other stuff that had come out at the same time, but as far as like other things that would inspire, like the violence and stuff. But as far as like some of the contrasting colors they had chosen, that was actually based on that. So
I always knew Liu Kang was fucking the Jester. I knew it.
Swinging. That song that he's singing is so funny, making fun of the guy. He's like, I look at him, he's up in his little tower or whatever. He's gonna hang himself.
I was watched this movie though, and then when I realized, like halfway through, I was like, oh my god, that's Tatsuya Nakadai, awesome. I was thinking about this, and I remembered Toshiro Mifune and Akira Kurosawa had like a falling out, right?
Big time.
It was like in the 70s. And I tried to research it and see why.
That's another part of why Kurosawa was doom and gloom in the 70s too.
Yeah. Like I tried to research it and see what happened, and it seemed like it was just a couple of things. Like it doesn't point to just one thing. Yeah. I'd say the biggest thing though had to do with, like, from what I read, like Redbeard and how like Mifune couldn't do any other work while he was supposed to like keep a beard for Redbeard, and he lost a fuck ton of money over like several years because of that.
The reverse side of that coin too is Kurosawa resented Mifune because Mifune kept doing like other little movies, getting paychecks, like making money, and Kurosawa would be like, "This is fucking beneath you. Why are you doing these shitty ass movies? You should be doing good movies with me or Kinoshita or the other directors whose names I can't pull out of my ass as easily." And Mifune's like, "Look, I gotta pay my bills, man. I also need to just act in movies." And that's why Redbeard was that breaking point, because then Kurosawa like spitefully hoisted this thing on him that made it so he couldn't get work. And then after that, it was...
yeah, the way I read it, I was like, man, maybe he just like wanted to do some other stuff too. He
did.
But I was thinking though, watching this movie, because they used to have that kind of that close relationship, is like, do you think if they didn't have that falling out, Mifune would be in the role?
Yes, 1,000%. Yes, yes, absolutely, he would have been. I think about that a lot. Actually, he would have been the lead in Kagemusha as well, I believe. But in Kagemusha, they originally cast the guy who played Satoshi, the blind samurai, because he was like a real famous guy, and Kurosawa and him had an argument about something. I can't remember what it was. And Kurosawa was like, what about this Nakadai guy? I used to work with him. Is he still famous? And he like wasn't as famous. And then after Kagemusha and Ron, he was back, baby.
Nice. I don't know what else to say about this film. I
could say 100 other things about this film, but
this could be a 3-hour thing. I'm holding back I'm holding back to have a debate about why. The hero of the film was actually killed at the very end. But
I just want to mention real quick one of my other favorite things. We almost got to it, and I was going to sidestep to it, but we went down a different path instead. There's so much subtlety in what's going on in the shots, because at the coolest part of battle at the third castle, after Taro gets shot in the back, the main conspirator, the main general for Jiro, comes over to him and he's like, "Taro got shot. It was a stray shot from the tower, and you just saw Taro was facing the tower and he was shot in the back. So that's a lie."
And he's holding the gun.
And he's holding a gun. And he says, "Such is the fortune of war," or something like that. And they both look at the gun in his hand at the same time. And then he just kind of like tosses it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's so cool. Just those little things like that. Like he doesn't like lean and go, "Did you kill him?" or something. There's not something stupid like that.
No, there was like an unspoken agreement. There's like, good job. Move on.
Well, and that's the whole point, is that the three brothers actually represent three parts. Well, Pokemon, yeah, but they actually represent three different parts of either flaws or traits, however you want to look at it, of Hidetora himself. Like his first son is his pride. Like the man is too prideful, which is what leads him to drive his father away after, and then he ends up being in a problem. The other is he's actually a bit of a coward, which goes back to why at the beginning Hidatora actually wants to give up his power because he's too afraid to make the other decisions. He just wants to move on and just rest peacefully. And then Hidatora, just in the same way, Saburo is very blunt. Like he just does not. Arrogance is, I guess, one way to say it, but he just is just unabashedly blunt. He will just share whatever is on his mind. And Hidatora can do that because he's in power. But when he's not, nobody cares. He's just a raving old man. So that's another thing about the movie that's supposed to tie in. And again, in King Lear, a lot of it is literally from the perspective of this old man watches all these things happen as his families tear themselves apart in a kingdom. Again, a different setting. But in this movie, you see the other perspectives separately from the third person view rather than just seeing it through King Lear's eyes as well. So that's just an important thing. But that's a nice tie-in to why it's important to that plot. Mm-hmm. So I just want to tie that in. But again, I actually hate the second brother so much. He is such a fucking pussy. That guy is such a coward. Everyone tramples over him. He is such a little bitch.
He just about gets his ass stabbed by Lady Kennedy, though.
And then she rapes him, basically. And he's just like, yeah, it's okay. And then she's like, I'm going to be your wife's head.
That's another scene I had to rewatch. I love it's so well choreographed or so well rehearsed or something. She's like, well, this helmet is yours. And she's like scooting toward him. And he like goes to take the helmet. It's all one movement. She takes the sword, knocks him on his ass, and then puts it to his neck. It's really, really quick and really efficient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, again, that's why her character is great too for what the role it serves. Again, she's so hateable because of the lengths she goes to, but again, from her story, just hearing, okay, she talks about how this was my castle I grew up in. I lost my family. Your family forced me to marry you and told me things would be okay. And then my reward was to watch the rest of my family be murdered. And then I get to be back here. I get to live in that same castle and just be haunted by all those memories, but it's okay because I'm here and I'm still alive. And again, she's justified, but
yeah, that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about with Dubs specifically, because you hate that character. You're supposed to hate that character. That character's awful, but she doesn't inflict any evil upon anyone except people who have it coming. With one exception, she's responsible for Lady Sue getting killed, which sucks. But at least you get that really cool scene. I can't remember the character's name. I really should know it. The main conspirator for Jiro. He's Kurogane. The guy. Is that what it is?
Kurogane, the general. Yeah, Kurogane.
He brings back the fox's head. Yeah. And Saul is a motherfucker. He's the one who kills her at the end. He's the one who shoots Taro in the back. Like, that's the coolest motherfucker in this movie right there.
He's Jiro's right arm. Remember, he's the one that actually does everything.
He's the one who does everything. Yep.
Because right. Jiro's a big fucking pussy.
He's a pussy. Right? He can't do anything. He's got this guy running around doing all this dirty work, and he's really good at it.
To go back on like her Lady Kaide's thing.
Like her revenge is justified, and she only inflicts evil upon evil people, but you still hate her as you should, and that's what you should expound upon that.
Yes, but I think the lesson that they try to teach is sometimes revenge is not even worth it. And to go like Lady Sue and the brother, like they tried to do the right thing by not getting involved, because there was a chance where the blind brother could have done something to the old man when he was at his weakest point in his little shack, and all he did was play the flute, and that's it. And with Lady Kaide, she did revenge, and it ended up she getting a fucking knife to her throat. And what did that prove? Besides, she did her job. Yeah, it burned down the family, but there's still people alive. Like, it's gonna flourish no matter what anyway.
I think if I remember the quote correctly, the quote, I think it's revenge is a snake nigh with head nor tail. And the whole point is that revenge is a vicious cycle. Right. And that's the entire point. And that is literally the entire message of Naruto and Attack on Titan. You were welcome.
Well, the other piece of advice you can glean from this is to just don't ever listen to women. Don't go to them for advice, and don't listen to them, because know what? If he just said, shut up, and just ignored her. If Taro just said shut up and just ignored her from the beginning, none of this shit would have happened.
If she was like, "Am I just gonna be a concubine?" Oh, I can't stand. Also, a weird parallel with Rashomon here. I can't stand knowing that another woman has known you intimately. She must die. He should have been like, "No, we're not gonna fucking do that."
He's like, shut up and get out of here. Just make her leave. Like, what the fuck? You don't have to put up with her.
That's not who he is. That's not who that character is.
That guy's a big fucking coward. So,
well, they're both cowards. The fucking Taro was pussy whipped, and then his brother was a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Only Saburo saw what was going to happen, and he called it from the beginning.
I mean, you referenced Game of Thrones. Who were the ones that were causing all the evil shit you wanted to die? No, like, you wanted the Night King to die, but you didn't really care as much about that. But you really wanted the Queen to get her shit, right?
I don't watch that bullshit.
I'm just saying, like, it's all the same shit. It's just flavored up differently.
Yeah,
worse.
Lady Kaede being hateable is a perfect storm because this is a Shakespearean story, and he wrote some really evil women for sure. And then also, this is a Japanese movie and a Jitageki, a period piece, which also has some famously horrible and evil women in it. So this is the perfect storm of evil women. But also, like,
I got a question.
Also, you have to say it though. That actress is outstanding. Oh my god!
Oh my god! That scene, every scene she's in after she like unveils like her true colors, brilliant. Like, she's just awesome.
She's wonderful and
so animated.
Dubs, I know you were wrapping us up earlier. I didn't want to leave this movie behind without at least mentioning. No one has said anything about him, and it's kind of unfair, but I understand there's not a lot to say about him. The Fool. The Fool is one of the best characters in this movie.
Oh, we
talk about the. I mean, I made
just a little bit. We only like touched
Don't
on
kill
him.
my Fool.
He's great. The stuff he says, his mannerisms, his stupid little dances, and then as the movie wears on and life tears him down, he becomes a philosopher and starts like saying you're having feelings about the movie, and then he'll say something, and you're like, "That's how I feel."
Kind of is. Yeah. He represents the folly of man.
But I just wanted to bring it up because he's wonderful too.
I mean, isn't that just what it is though? A fool that's journey through life as a philosopher.
Yeah,
that's basically the point. He's
was that in fucking Naruto too?
Was that Naruto?
No, they just told me to believe in myself, and then I wouldn't have fucking killed my wife. God,
man's born crying, and then when he's done crying, he dies. Believe it.
Man, they wouldn't fight if they just sat and talked over some Ichiraku ramen.
Oh god.
No, but the Fool has a lot of the best lines in the movie. Like, man is born crying, and then when he's done crying, he dies. And I really like hell is ever at hand. You cannot say the same of heaven.
It sounds like some fucking Dark Souls shit. Like you find some weirdo in a hole somewhere, and he says that shit.
Yeah, fucking big feet, and fucking massive ass sword.
All right, maybe we can wrap up Ron because we have like.
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Dubs, you got a thing, I got a thing, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah. The jester guy tells the old man, the suicidal man, the depressing man, to jump off the edge, which he does, which he does, and
he's like, "Oh,
that's funny."
Oh shit! He's dead.
Lady Kaede, when she cares about the armor so much, was that her father's?
No, it's just her husband's.
Because
I think.
Well, no, because I thought about this. Like, they took the castle and probably everything within it. I thought maybe that was like her family's armor, and that she cared about it so much.
I thought it was just her excuse to be a huge bitch about my husband.
Probably that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was dishonorable.
Because he's wearing it, and he's like, "You're making fun of me. Like I'm wearing it."
Well,
and then he says the best line in the movie, "Sister-in-law, I'm about to be naked."
Oh yeah.
She cared about it in the very beginning, though, even before the death. Because remember the father's like, "Oh no, you could have the castle, but I'm keeping the armor and the banner and stuff." And she's like, "Nah, bitch, I want that fucking armor and banner."
I think it was just the banner that
So-
she wanted because she was like, "Oh, it's a symbol of the Great Lord. You should go take it." And she starts all this shit, and then the fool sings a song about him, and then everyone dies.
That's when
Yeah.
Taro should just
I
say,
think that's
"Shut up."
another thing too is like she is
Shut
a
up,
vehicle
bitch.
for all of their own faults. Like you said, like she doesn't directly get her hands dirty, other than when she threatens him, but she never kills him. She literally just plays and manipulates all of their own weaknesses and forces them to kill each other because they're actually not great people. But she's also very hateable. And again, I'm not justifying or saying I didn't want her to die. It was very satisfying to see her get killed.
She's also scary. She like cuts his neck
I
and then
did.
licks the blood
Licks
off
it
him.
and shit.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
fucking snake woman. Jesus. I want to go back to the full.
I think I ought to. I think
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no. You go.
Well-
I'm like, we call it delayed, I guess.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. So with the fool, there, you see throughout the film whenever Hidetaro is just losing his mind, he's just getting crazier, and that hair is just getting further out there, which again is great visualization of how insane he has become. And the fool goes through his own stuff too, but he starts saying sillier things throughout the film, and there's a very good, a very long stretch of time there where the fool isn't with him at all. I wondered how much of that too. At one point, I mean, it was when Saburo and the others find him. It's very clear this isn't the case. But I almost wondered too how much of that eventually was going to be that the fool wasn't actually there, like he's hallucinating him or seeing him. And the reason for that is because there are versions of King Lear where he has a similar role of someone, and he thinks he's there the whole time. And when he's found later by others, he's talking to himself, but to the viewers, it's seen as though he's talking to someone else, and it's because this other person's just made up. So I wondered if that was something else that was going to be in the film too. I don't know if that's anything you all noted or had any opinion on. Nope. Okay, good. See, look at that.
No.
I found something that no one else even cared about. We can move on to the end. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that like there was not one film where I was just like, it was okay and it should be like less, but like every film that we watch, I was like, this is really fucking good. Like I don't.
You're welcome.
I actually had to change mine midway.
I saw you
didn't
change it just now.
Yeah, I didn't change it too much, but like I thought about it. I guess we can go and I recommend this film. I thought it very raw emotions. Like this is like I talk in the messenger on Facebook with you guys, like, and I know most of you guys are like shut up and save it for the show, but I literally couldn't. I had to do the raw emotion to the part where I was kind of like, just to bring up the part like when Lady Kaide was like right in this very room I saw my mother kill myself. I audibly said you should kill yourself to Lady Kaide because I was so mad at her what she was doing, but I understand why she was doing it. But I highly recommend this movie. Andy, I'm pretty sure you recommend this movie.
Yeah, I recommend all these movies, but this one in particular, I'd seen it before, and when we get to rankings, I'm gonna say because I pre-ranked everything before we watched it, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna change much. Everything changed so dramatically. So this movie like re-surprised me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I've matured the right way or seen the right movies or had the right life experiences, but oh my god, this movie's fantastic, as I'm going to try to illustrate shortly. But yeah, of course, I recommend it.
Zach.
Yeah.
Great word.
It's a great movie. The Great Lord proclaims its greatness. I fought upon the fields of cinematic warfare and killed the other movies and claimed this one. This is good. Go watch it.
Your turn, Chaz.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's highly recommend it. even again, there was actually a theme toward the end of what we were watching, which was great. We finished strong from Rashomon on in the field of it does not need to be you don't need to be a fan of samurai movies or trying to get into samurai movies to watch these films. These are movies that have their own in-depth stories that are worth watching regardless of what you're into. This is a near 3-hour movie, and I couldn't recommend this movie more to anyone. So again, it's a masterpiece.
All right. Well, it is time for the final ranking. I everybody agree. Well, let me do my ranking. I'm like already going into final. Let me do my ranking.
Are you having a stroke, Dubs? Just tell us your films.
Yeah. Number 6, I have Sword of Doom. Number 5, I have Twilight Samurai. Number 4, I have Seven Samurai. Number 3, Ran, whatever you say. Number 2, Rashomon, and number 1, Harakiri at number 1.
I'm gonna go next. Sorry, let's run all the rankings down. I gotta run them down. Like I said, I pre-ranked these movies before we did it. I really thought I was gonna do Seven Samurai number 1. Why wouldn't I? Oh my god. Then maybe Ron, and then probably Harakiri, and then Sword of Doom, and then Twilight Samurai movie I'd never seen before. But oh my god, my ranking is completely screwed up. I'll start at the bottom like Dubs did though. Sword of Doom at number 6, Twilight Samurai at number 5, a big surprise. Rashomon at number 4, that was hard to come to terms with. Seven Samurai at number 3, which is also hard to come to terms. I'm gonna get my Film Snob card revoked. Harakiri at number 2, and like I said, the huge surprise, Ron at number 1. Like I literally laughed and I literally cried. The movie's so great.
All right.
Chaz, why don't you go next? Because apparently yours is going to be very easy to follow mine with.
Yeah, I'll make it easy. Everything that Andy said. No, no really though. I honestly, the way I have my Google Docs pulled up. Like I usually do it on my phone and pull it up because I don't want to see what everybody else has. But I started to come up and I realized toward the when I was getting closer to the top and filling it out that our like the bottom 2 looked like everyone was kind of matched. But yeah, I'll just rerun the rankings as Andy had said it. But we had a match, which means that we are right because 2 of us had the exact same, so no one else can argue anything. Yeah, we're twinsies here.
According to Mark Twain.
well, Mark Twain said a lot of really dumb shit and freely used the N-word. So
I mean, the same could be said for you at certain times in your life.
Well, yeah, I drink Bud Light, and a clock, even a broken one, is still right twice. But anyway, Sword of Doom at 6. Moving on, at 5, Twilight Samurai. 4, Rashomon. 3, Seven Samurai. Number 2, Harakiri, and number 1, Ron. I will say this: I did have a difficult time between 1, 2, and 3. I don't give numerical rankings. I actively put them out, but I would say all 3 of those movies are within 1/10 to 2/10 of one another in terms of where they land. So, again, if the wind blew a certain way, that top 3 could look totally different. But actually, for the same point you mentioned, Ron just hit such a huge depth. I audibly belly laughed and I openly wept. So it is a beautiful movie. So it's really hard to beat that. And also it's hard to beat a movie that is 3 hours long that can keep your attention the entire time. If it can do that, that's a big win. So
it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. 15 minutes is a big difference between, one thing and another.
Sure.
All right.
Stop rounding up, everybody. It's lazy. All right, here we go. Hang on. Oh, God damn it. It's being stupid. All right. Twilight Samurai at number 6.
Oh.
Sword of Doom at number 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Daring today, are we?
No, this is just what I think. Seven Samurai at number 4.
Whoa.
I mean, remember my reaction to it, though?
No, yeah, that's all.
Harakiri is number 3. Rashomon is number 2.
Whoa, another Ron.
Ron is 1.
Ron really ran away with this one.
Ha 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 ha.
Mhm. All right, so I mean, there's literally no debate because you guys 3-1 me
Whoa.
with Ron at number 1, but Ron should be number 1.
Yes.
We'll go. What's your case?
What?
There is no case. You say the argument's so lopsided, your ISP agrees with us. Won't even let you argue.
Yeah, it seems like it. The internet's trying to cancel your opinion here or something.
My internet's fine. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's StreamYard. So there's no debate, right? Ron at number 1.
Ron
I
at
mean,
one.
unless you want to make why is it not number 1 for you?
Yeah. I mean, why Rashomon and Harakiri?
Harakiri and Rashomon, I thought, in my opinion, I like the characters in that, but I don't have a big debate. This is more personal for me than anything.
Sure.
So like I connected somehow with the Harakiri guy, like, you know, him knowing the person that killed himself with the bamboo fucking katana. And or whatever blade it was that
Him exposing the bullshit of the samurai code.
Yeah, that was fucking cool. And Rashomon, I just loved it felt like a very like Clue like film where we're like connecting the dots, and I like that. We're just like, oh, who's telling the truth here? It felt like a mystery, and I'm a sucker for mysteries, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My ranking, it should be asterisked a little bit because I've seen most of these movies several times, and like I was talking about, seeing Ron several times, I appreciate it more now than I ever have in my entire life. Rashomon, after repeated viewings, is still an excellent movie. It's well directed, well acted, but after the mystery's gone, it doesn't quite have that punch. So maybe that's why I've got Rashomon languishing at number 4.
Mm-hmm. I guess the big question I have, because we all have Sword of Doom at number 6. Zach, why do you have Twilight Samurai at number 6?
Twilight Samurai I wasn't as engaged by as Sword of Doom. I just thought the character, the plot of Sword of Doom was more engaging initially than Twilight Samurai is. And Twilight Samurai was way more of a drama than like what any of these other movies are. Like like you saying about Rashomon's more like kind of like a weird kind of mystery almost, just setting the Jitakeki thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's interesting. Like in that regard, Rashomon's just unique.
Yeah.
Again, especially the time period where it comes from, but yeah, I get that though. I mean, they're like all these movies that are there. We're using a theme for them, but because of the periods
Plus,
they're representative of, but they're different films.
Yeah,
like several of them are different flavors.
Sword of Doom has the most badass scene of any of these movies, where Nakadai's like watches Toshiro Mifune murder like 30 people, and he makes that guy grovel and makes him apologize.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, in the snow. Yeah, that's such a cool fucking scene.
Like I'm not even exaggerating. That's like the coolest scene in all these movies.
It's funny too because like to debate Sword of Doom versus Twilight Samurai is just such an interesting thing because the two protagonists are so opposite ends of a spectrum.
I mean, one's a murderer. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, one of them is like an awful person, and the other one is doing his best to be the best person he could manage to be on his own. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, that's I don't know. It's a little bit of a taste thing, and like I said, it took a little bit longer for me to get to Twilight Samurai than any of these other movies, almost. So, but I got there.
Zach just likes murderers more.
I like murder. I like.
That was a joke I was gonna make. I was worried my delay was gonna be there. I was like, the Great Lord prefers psychopaths. So
the Great Lord also created a meme out of Sword of Doom. Apologize now.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, what's funny is like not not with like the whole like, oh, there must be murder. Like,
I'm just kidding about that anyway. That's a gimmick.
I know, but my thing is like, I kind of like the drama of it, like the characterization. I think had like the Twilight Samurai guy had more depth than the guy from the Sword of Doom. My opinion.
I mean, yeah. Also, I think you're right, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, they both are at the opposite end, and they both did have some kind of journey where, you know, where they ended up and stuff. When we get to my themes, as far as movies, you're gonna see why I like a lot of drama stuff more than action. And I'm not even saying my theme yet because we still have to go through Chaz's, but I already picked out a theme and the movies, and it something like Twilight Samurai is going to be my taste in movies.
Yeah, I lean a bit more towards action than drama. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like dramas. There's movies I like where they are dramas that are great.
My favorite genre is good movie.
Yep, I like a good story, and it's kind of like ice cream. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for strawberry. Sometimes I can eat coffee flavored ice cream as long as it tastes good.
There you go.
If it's cheaply made chocolate, I'm probably not going to like it as much as I would a really good vanilla.
I mean, you're talking to somebody that loves genre films. I love horror shit. So
yeah.
But anyway, Sword of Doom is going to have to go at 6, I think. I think Twilight Samurai we should go ahead and slot in at number 5. I really think Harakiri should be at number 2. I don't know if you guys want to put forward Rashomon or Seven Samurai. I'm feeling Harakiri at 2. I don't know if someone wants to shout me down.
I have no qualms. I have no qualms. Mine was at number 1 was Harakiri. So
yeah, I think for that reason alone, I think again I always look at this in a weird, like boring way of you don't need to argue it with your heart or anything. Just the numbers kind of fit. Like you have it rated as number 1, and 2 of us have it at number 2, and someone has it at number 3. Yeah. Whereas Rashomon is at number 2 twice, but it's also number 4 twice. It just doesn't hold up the same weight, I don't think.
Well, also, I'm really excited because that means now we get to have an argument that film scholars have been having since like the mid 50s. What's better, Rashomon or Seven Samurai?
I'm going to say Seven Samurai because as long as we win that, then you and I
right there immediately the two of you came at each other.
Rashomon's better.
I want my list to be the same. So if my final list is the same as or if the final list is the same as what I picked, that means I'm right and I win. So now that's the case, Seven Samurai wins, and I have no other argument that I'm right.
Here's my whole argument for it. I also think Seven Samurai should go over Rashomon. They're both fantastic movies. They're both like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 movies. They're both extremely well acted. They're both extremely well directed. They're both extremely well shot, blocked, lit, costumed. Everything about them is fantastic. They're both extremely important. They're both extremely important to film. They're both extremely important to like film history. They're both extremely important to like film education. But Seven Samurai has way more moving parts, which I think makes it more impressive, which I think gives it the edge.
It might have almost too many moving parts.
Maybe.
To the point to where maybe somebody could argue, is it bloated a bit?
Maybe. You could. And if you were going to do so, now would be the time, because I don't think so. I think Seven Samurai is good.
Now is the time. I said it before. You probably cut 20 minutes off that movie, and I still believe it.
Here's my thing. When we watch Seven Samurai, I'm like, I don't know what could top this. And then we watch all these other movies. And
I watched Rand, and it topped all of it.
Look, I thought really hard about the order we watched these in. So give me a little credit here.
So, Andy, you are correct on everything. I just have to lean.
You're just right about everything.
but I have to lean towards Zach a little.
Pussy.
I have to lean towards Zach on the time thing, though. Yes,
it is
greatly
long.
shot.
We all just agreed Ron was the best one, and that was the longest movie we watched.
You don't feel the length of Ron, though.
Would you rather watch
filmmaking? What can I say?
Because you said it yourself. How could you stop watching it when you start?
Yeah.
I fucking couldn't. I even when the movie was over, I couldn't stop watching it.
No, I was like, this is awesome.
Same.
But when I was watching Seven Samurai, I'm like, man, I'm glad there's this intermission. I got up and I made some food.
Yeah, it was nice to have that little break because it is long. But would you rather watch Seven Samurai once or watch Rashomon twice?
I'd rather
twice.
watch Rashomon twice because
once,
there's
yeah.
different stuff you could take from what happens in that story. Different takes you could. Well, I didn't notice that guy said that and looked that way. What's that mean? Like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really infer any of that from Seven Samurai. It's a pretty straightforward movie.
Oh, I think you can. I think you totally can.
In what way?
Especially when it comes to Takashi Shimura, because his character, the whole movie is just like really reserved until it's time to like shout at some people or go into battle or something like that. He has a lot of range, but and it's kind of, again, it's not fair. I've seen this movie several times. You guys have seen it once. But when you know to look for it, you can see that warrior boiling, below the surface. It's there the whole time. And the same thing with Mifune's character. Like you kind of start getting what he is about, in so much that he used to be a farmer or whatever. In how he looks at the recruiters, the two people who come to find Samurai, and I don't. I'm just saying it's there. I'm not saying it's like extremely well pronounced. I'm not saying it's as good as it is in Ron or Rashomon or fucking Goodfellas or whatever. I'm just saying it's there. That's all.
It's there. I noticed it my first time watching it too. But I don't know. To me, there's a little bit more in Rashomon for you to like ruminate over.
Look, I can let Rashomon go ahead. Like honestly, I'm just thrilled with the whole thing. You guys liked. I weaseled into 6 movies, and I'm pretty sure all 3 of you liked all 6 of them. So honestly, I'm happy as can be.
Oh, this is like us picking out
movies.
like the NBA All-Star lineup and then putting one on the bench.
Yeah,
like that's what we're doing here. This is like literally 92 Dream Team of like these types of films. Like I want to watch more. So like I'm just like actually I wanted to ask. It's unrelated. I know we're talking about the other, but. Well,
we're talking about Charles Barkley versus Scottie Pippen right now. We're like, man, one of these guys is just not as good as the other one.
Man, that Rashomon, he's terrible. Terrible. No, I agree. I can concede it, and doing the boring thing, looking at it based on like score, like again, Rashomon across our board is higher consistently. So I think Rashomon at 3 is probably the right call. To be fair, I said at first the top 3 would be the ones that are separated, but it's really top 4 for me. Rashomon and Seven Samurai have the same score for me. So I don't know why I said before top 3. So like the top 4 movies are all within like 2 decimal points from one another for me anyway, as is. And again, they're all just great. I just had a question. I saw this yesterday after I'd watched the movie. It was just kind of an uncanny thing that just happened. Just randomly on a subreddit, one of the gifs that came up was talking about an iconic scene in film, and it was a Kurosawa film that changed everything in terms of the landscape of how like certain like deaths are shot and everything. I guess this backstory of it just shows like this duel that happens, and then a guy strikes first with a sword, and then it causes like this crazy like shatter or splatter of blood everywhere, and they talk about how it was a malfunction. So I was going to ask if it was Yojimbo, because that's the movie I haven't watched, but or High and Low. It had to be one or the other. But I guess that was the movie. There was a malfunction that happened when they did the scene.
Oh, the pressure was too high?
Yes, but they decided to keep it. But that's what effectively decided from then on that is how that type of death or that type of slash would be filmed. Like the delay and then the spatter after. And that's like so iconic that it carries through film, anime, manga, everything. Like that's how everything is made now, and it is really cool. It's totally hilarious that happened on an accident.
Yeah,
I don't know. So that was neat.
You said you wanted to watch more. Hopefully our viewers want to watch more. Real quick, if you guys liked Ron, I recommend Kagemusha. It's the movie Kurosawa made right before, and it also stars Tetsuya Nakadai. If you liked Rashomon a whole lot, or for that matter, any of the Kurosawa stuff we watched, Hidden Fortress, famously, the 2 main characters in it are what George Lucas based 3PO and R2-D2 on. If you liked Sword of Doom, then you probably just like some good old fashioned hardcore mean samurai bullshit. 3 Outlaw Samurai. This movie's also cool. It's got a lot of really good action in it. If you like if you like Seven Samurai and Ron, if you like more of an epic, a long story, Mifune stars in the Samurai trilogy. This is 3 movies about the life of Miyamoto Musashi, and it is also extremely good.
I've seen that on Amazon. I was like, oh shit, I want to watch this.
Highly recommended as well. And Dubs and I have already watched it, but I just also wanted to recommend real quick Throne of Blood. If you wonder what would have happened if Mifune had been the star in Ron, you get a taste of it right here, baby.
I thought you were gonna joke around like, "Oh, me and Dubs watch this," and if you're a fan of bad good movies and cops, you can watch Samurai Cops.
You can watch Samurai Cap. No, but seriously, there's so many good samurai movies. That's even that. If you watch all 6 of what we just watched and the 5 I just recommended, you're barely just scratching the little surface there. There's so many more.
I have to say this because we didn't really put in the final. Are you conceding Rashomon at number 3?
Yeah, like I said, that's fine. I'm already happy as can be. You guys liked all the movies I chose, and I got to rewatch a bunch of my favorite movies of all time. Whoa.
Yes, and by the way, at some point I will be owning all these movies that we ranked at the final ranking, which is 6 Sword of Doom, 5 Twilight Samurai, 4 Seven Samurai, 3 Rashomon, 2 Harikiri, and 1 Ron. So that is the final ranking. What do you guys watch? Since I'm going to be going on like podcasting vacation, what are you 3 going to be watching next week? You guys pick it yet or no? Or is it going to be a surprise?
We meant to discuss it before the show. I guess it's going to have to be a surprise. It's Pride Month. We're going to watch gay movies.
Nice.
All right, let's go. Strap in.
No, it'll just stand by for programming notices, I guess, because we did not discuss it.
I do have the update of what we're going to watch after the 2 weeks. So if we want to give that timeline, though,
yeah, we should do that.
So okay, the next 2 weeks, of course, as you're listening, we're gonna have something a little different from our regular schedule because Dub's gonna be taking a mini vacation. I'm still on the fence, depending on how my schedule works out, whether I'll be for one or both of the next Tuesdays or not. But when we come back, and I think it's actually on the 4th of July. Am I right? The 4th of July is the Tuesday, so it'll actually be on Independence Day. That's the first Tuesday back.
Yeah. Yes. 4th of July.
So for America, is that, and to make sure, is everyone cool with that? Because my movie actually changes depending if we're going to do on 4th of July or if we're going to do a different day.
I always watch movies on the 4th of July. See, I'm down.
Okay, so we're good to say that we're going to do it then? Okay,
Zach looked like he has something going on.
I won't be available for that day.
Okay, well then that is fine. Maybe the week of, we'll still plan week of. Then it was gonna be, I was gonna do a patriotic film for 4th of July. It's still on the same list, but I guess maybe that Wednesday or Thursday we'll do the movie for the week. But we are going to watch Jurassic Park.
So
never heard of it.
Yeah, so and just for those listening and for you guys as well, my theme is not going to be told. Here's how it's going to go. Each week we'll watch a movie. We will hold on. So we're going to we'll watch our movie, and at the end of each week, you guys can take a guess, one single guess on the show right then and there on what you think the theme is. And again, we're just going to unveil it each week as the movies come, and that way nobody gets any extra surprises on what it could be. And viewers can actually tune in and give us answers too if they'd like to try to guess a theme. The first person that's able to guess what the theme of the month is, because I have a total of 6 films. If you can guess what the theme is for the 6 films, then you win a prize. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. It'll probably be something shitty. But, you should try to win it.
Giant lizards.
Well, yeah.
Well, what patriotic movie did he choose?
It might be frog DNA. Yeah, if you like frog DNA.
Dino DNA.
So are you just releasing one movie at a time as far as
only one? Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
only one at a time, because otherwise people have a theme and can look at
This is
them.
like-
However, I will say this: the quote unquote patriotic movie will be the following week, so you'll get the joke that following week. It's actually really funny that it would have been the patriotic movie. But we'll
Science
talk
going
about
too
it.
far. Movies based on novels. Blockbusters from the 90s.
Giant lizards.
Giant lizards.
Giant pile of shit fucking personifies the government. I don't know.
One great big pile of shit. That's right.
The fall of man when they try to reach too far.
Yeah, that's one great big pile of shit. And the patriotic movie we're gonna watch is Full Metal Jacket. It's one big shit sandwich. We're all gotta take a bite. Shit, that's your theme.
Oh, watch this. Chaz is trying to make the viewers think about things. See, nobody cares.
I get the meme.
Oh, you get it. Yeah, you're welcome.
Norm.
All right.
Norm from
Yeah.
fucking Seinfeld.
See, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Newman, I'm sorry, Norm.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We're not gonna go through commercial
Hello,
break
Newman.
since we're like an hour and 20 minutes. So we're gonna go right into the last word, where what the hell we've been watching, playing, or doing, and then we'll get to news later. I'm gonna say the movie because I know you guys love when I talk about my bad movies that I watch, but I'll get the good movies out of the way. Since we talked about like fucking Keith Urban's Dread, I had to watch Dread again, and that
movie
movie.
owns.
You mean
The movie
Carl
fucking
Urban?
rocks.
You said Keith Urban.
Keith
Yeah.
Urban.
Country
Yeah.
singer. I'm Dread. I am the law.
I do
am the
dread
law, my
Keith
feet
Urban.
are
I dread him.
down, but
I'm the law. That,
I knew
I'm gonna
you were going to
put a
say
boot
that,
in
that you
your
were going
ass.
to walk out on me.
So I also I was in a serial killer mood and watched some Dr. Lecter movies. I watched Red Dragon first because I found out that was a fucking prequel to fucking Silence of the Lambs. Because
Is Red Dragon good? I've meant to
Yeah.
watch it for years. And I've never.
it's
never
really
done it.
good. I recommend it. It has
'Cause
fucking
I've
Ed
seen Silence of
Norton
the
in it.
Lambs several times.
Has anybody
Yeah.
seen Manhunter?
No.
No.
Oh, the original prequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Mhm.
Is it good too? Should I watch it too?
I don't know. I have it here on VHS. Someday I'll watch it.
Oh, okay.
It's by Michael Mann.
Nice.
Oh yeah. The guy he did.
I wa-
Heat.
I watched Silence of the Lambs, and because Jodie Foster is in Silence of the Lambs, I had to watch a movie called Contact that Jodie Foster is in, and I love
Taking a
that
real
movie.
leap there, aren't you? You were
Yeah.
like, I'm in the movie with serial killers. Oh, hey, Clarice. You know what? Aliens. Let's do that now.
Yes.
Did you also watch Twister?
No.
Damn.
But
Phil
I
Seymour
did-
Hoffman was in that. So then I watched Sign Dog New York.
I did watch another alien movie called Dark Skies, which is weird movie, but it's like it's like not a bad movie. Weird shit happens in the neighborhood. Little kid sees a imaginary friend. Turns out it's fucking aliens and shit, and fucking up like 3 different flocks, like 800 birds crashes into the fucking house, and people are walking inside the house. It's kind of like a thriller, kind of a little bit of horror. And then I moved into a horror movie called The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Ooh, what'd you think of that?
It's silly at times, but it's done in a way where it's like they're filming a documentary about Alzheimer, and they think that this lady has Alzheimer's, but something's going wrong. I just want to the part that I really laughed my ass off is weird shit is happening, and the main character who's doing like documentary, because the lady like leapt up a stove, and she's like, well, there must be a chair there, and the rational guy's like, are you fucking blind? She fucking levitated on a stove. And then she like I can't say the word, but she like does Jedi powers to open up the window. And he's like, the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm out of here. He fucking like leaves and shit. And I laugh my ass off. And everything goes. Yeah, he lived. But I recommend it. It was a nice watch. It does have some creepy moments where you're just like, is this going to be a jump scare? But it's not a jump scare, but you're just creepy. So
Yeah. A lot of the creepy moments are just some bewildered old lady just staring at you, and it's just like, what the fuck.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the last thing you want is for someone with Alzheimer's to like have their midichlorians activate, and then you're like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah.
to be fair, that's not the person I want with telekinesis.
Yeah.
Not even a joke. Real take right there. Don't give it to the person running through the fucking streets naked shitting themselves. That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah,
news.
that's really bad. He's kidnapping and shit goes crazy. So I had to move on to the found footage fucking crap fest. This is where we're getting into bad territory, people. I watched a movie called Beyond the Sky. It's about a guy who doesn't believe in alien abductions. Finds out that people are being abducted, then gets abducted by aliens and finds out that the aliens are just advanced humans. And the end. Now, like, ends literally. Trash. And they watched this trash film called Creep. It's on Netflix. I was like, what is this movie about? So it's about a guy who found an ad on Craigslist to video a cancer patient that's living in the mountains, and he gets like $1,000 for the day and stuff. He goes there. It literally takes a while. It's like 20 to 30 minutes, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Because he like goes up the stairs and knocks on a door and does this twisty doorbell, and you're just like, is this supposed to be scary? And then this guy comes out and he's all flamboyant and stuff. He's like, I give hugs, and he like gives him hugs and stuff. And then he starts to wear like wolf costumes and shit. And his name is Peach Fuzz, the costume that he wears. I was like, is this some weird furry fucking horror movie? Technically, I was right. It kind of is a furry horror movie. Because he starts to like reveal some things where he found out that his wife was watching furry porn, so he came into the house wearing the wolf costume and raped his wife. But then you find out that it's not his wife, it's his sister, and it just goes crazy from there. Watch it. Terrible movie. I actually downvoted it. I downvoted it on Netflix. Then I
watched that movie once too, and I fucking hated it as well. It was terrible.
Yeah. Then I found out they made a sequel called Creep 2.
You had to watch that.
And I was like,
I did not watch that one.
I was like, how bad could this be? It was actually pretty good then compared to the first one.
Really?
He lures another person, a YouTuber who's trying to do like this encounter show where she's like Ripley's Believe It or Not or something, like weird people and weird fantasies and supernatural shit. And he outright says, I'm a serial killer and I want you to do a documentary on me. And she just like plays it off like, who fucking cares? I'm like, she gets naked. Like there's actually nudity in this. So I was like, that's a plus. First, I actually had to think about this. I actually Googled it because I was like, she was kind of flat chested, but you know, she did have tits. I'm like, am I looking at a man right now? What's going on? No, she's a woman. So I was like, all right, cool. And she's a director and also an actress. And she did pretty well to the point where she was believable of like at near the end, she gets scared and stuff, but it was better than Creep 1. Will I say go watch this? No, it's still shit, but I had a better time watching Creep 2 than Creep 1. And that's all I did. I didn't play any games besides like a couple of games with Chaz where he beat my ass with Zangief.
He's a nice guy like that.
We haven't crossed paths. Street Fighter.
And Minot, yeah. You don't forget Minot. I threw your ass around with Minot too.
I fucking hate her.
Yeah. No, they were actually fair matches. We had some even matches. You beat my ass with Cammy a few times.
Mm-hmm. It was glorious at times.
At times.
Yes. Andy, what about you?
I didn't do a whole lot. I played a bunch of Tears of the Kingdom, though. It's still fun. Nothing really to elaborate on there. I randomly decided there was no F1 race this weekend, but 24-hour Le Mans was this weekend. So I watched a bunch of that, and I had a good old time. honestly, I didn't know the rules or what's going on quite as well, so I was kind of learning as I go. It's hard to watch WEC stuff because they're racing like 3 different races all on top of each other. But I was really entertained by it. Like I don't really have anything to add beyond it's one of the biggest racing events of the year, and I decided to give it a shot, and I'm a fan. And then also I watched almost the entire first season of Beast Wars. I can't remember. Oh, I remember what happened. I got up real early in the morning because I wanted to watch the end of 24 Hour Le Mans because it's in fucking France or whatever, and I had to watch it at weird hours. And after that, I fell asleep and took a little nap. And then when I woke up, I was just looking at YouTube videos on my television because I'm lazy. And there was a new episode of Worst Fighting Game, that Matt McMuscles series.
Yeah,
and it was about the Beast Wars fighting game. I was
I
like,
haven't seen that
man,
one yet.
I used to love that show when I was a kid. I wonder if I can watch it. Every episode is on Tubi, and I was like, I guess play.
Yeah,
And
Tubi.
I just played Tears of the Kingdom and watched Beast Wars. I'm on episode 25 or something. I don't know. I'm about halfway through the series.
Are you hyping yourself up for the Transformers Beast Wars fucking movie?
I mean, it came to mind because I was like, I bet you I'm not the only one watching this right now because I keep seeing that trailer everywhere. But no, it was just because I saw that Matt McMuscles video and it made me think about the series. I haven't watched a Transformers movie since the second one. I think it's been since the second one. Honestly, if I was going to see one though, it'd be cool to see this one. I'd be fun with that because, like I said, I mean, Beast Wars. That's my favorite Transformers series, just because I watched it as a kid.
Yeah, it was always on in the morning.
Yeah, it was just on, so I got to watch it, and it has that shitty reboot look. It's the people who made Reboot. This was the next series they made after that. Of course, I looked it up because I was like, this has to have some connection with the Reboot people. Yeah, it's the exact same people.
Reboot is also on Tubi.
That makes sense. I might watch some of that sometime too, because that's something else. Like I was like, I'm gonna watch 2 episodes of this and realize it's a piece of shit and turn it off. I'm having a good time. It's a fun show.
Tubi rules.
Hey, Dubs,
like
before we move on, wasn't there something else you watched? Didn't you watch the new Spider-Man movie?
Oh yeah, I forgot Spider-Verse. Yeah,
Obviously he loved it.
I've been waiting to hear about it. And you told us about Creep 1 and 2. How was it though? Was it good?
Yeah, it's a good story. I actually like the story in this movie compared to the first one, but I still hate the art style shit.
Did they do? Oh, really? I like it. I get it though. It is kind of striking, so it may not be everyone's flavor. Did they do justice to Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah. I love Miles Morales is great in animation form. And I just don't dig his comics. I don't care for the comics, but I think
they get him right and everything else right now. It's just. Yeah, the books,
game
he's bored.
too.
Yeah, the game. He's cool in the game too. People like him in that.
Yeah, it has depth, and as long as I think it's like 2 hours and some minutes. I forgot how long it was, but it didn't feel that. If I actually wanted more, as far as story wise, but again, I don't like the art. And Miles Morales is Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Did
All right,
Peter
cool.
B. Parker come back? The best version of Spider-Man?
Yes.
Good.
Sweet.
Good.
Am I delaying big time? This is weird.
Yeah, dude. Since you started talking about Beyond the Sky, and the only thing that's been Beyond the Sky has been your internet connection. Like, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
It even back out after a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, someone out there just doesn't like. You have an NSA agent or something listening, and they're just like, nah, cutting you off.
We're gonna burst his packets with some bullshit to slow him down. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, at first I thought of all this. I thought it was me because it's raining kind of hard here, but it stopped and no one else was cutting out. So yeah, you pissed somebody off, Dubs.
Usually it's me, but I noticed you were a little weird, and the 2 of them aren't. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Level 4.
It doesn't matter. We're wrapping up anyway. Zach, what'd you watch and play
Yeah.
and do and read and play and jump and
eat?
Yeah, what'd you eat? What'd you eat this week, Zach?
Burgers. I made a pasta salad and I ate that, and I also made pizza.
All right.
Yeah. So
All right.
I watched Sphere Hunter plot analysis for Resident Evil 4. It's been pretty interesting so far. She goes real in depth into like just super highly detailed little bits and bobs and like the environmental storytelling or some of the files in case you missed a couple stuff like that. It's been pretty great. I'm almost done with it. I did actually learn a couple things I didn't really consider, or something I missed out on completely in my first playthrough because I haven't played through it again. Is Mendez's attic in his house? I fucking skipped that my first playthrough. I couldn't go back. I got. They shut the door on me on that one.
Oh, same thing. I missed it the first time, and the second time I made sure to go out of my way to go do that.
Yeah. So whenever I play it again, which I don't know, might still be a little ways from now because I was gonna wait till Separate Ways comes out and I was gonna just play through the game that way again.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, but pretty cool. I also watched the second episode of Dark Side of the Ring that has Magnum TA in it. That's pretty cool. Magnum TA was going to be a big star in wrestling, and he crashed a Porsche and exploded his C5 vertebrae. So he couldn't be a big star because of that.
Sounds like he went hard.
Well, the funny thing was he was just driving home. He wasn't even like inebriated or anything. It was raining though. He hydroplaned and hit like a fucking telephone pole.
Oh, that sucks. You said it was a Porsche, so I thought like he was like hot dogging or something.
Nah, he might have been driving fast because it was a Porsche, but you know, and he was like in his mid-20s. So
just go fast.
Yeah,
that's what Porsche go vroom. I mean, it does nothing else.
Yeah,
but Magnum, I want to watch the series of matches he has with like Nikita Koloff, and I want to see some of his shit now after watching that. My favorite part was like he feuded with Nikita Koloff, a guy who was like a Russian heel, and then it's like when he had his accident and stuff, they turned it around. They had to come up with another babyface, so they turned Nikita Koloff babyface, and in the NWA, the Jim Crockett Promotion magazine, there's like a picture of him with like a single tear going down his cheek, and he says, "I cry for Magnum TA." That was his babyface turn. Because he respected him, I guess, at the end of that fucking 7 series of matches where he won. The Russian beat him, but yeah, he gained his respect, I guess, is the way they played it off. But also been playing Street Fighter 6 in bursts here and there. I still haven't really played much single player stuff on it yet. And now that I got Diablo 4 and I'm playing it too, that's probably going to be on the back burner for a little bit. I'm playing it so far. I'm not very far in. I'm just got a character up to like level 11 or 12. But pretty cool so far. I'm enjoying it. And then I put I'm not playing it yet, but I bought Phantasy Star on the Switch, the M2 port of Phantasy Star, the original that was the Master System. I've bought their ports before. I've got several of them. I've got like Virtua Racing, and I think a couple other ones on there. Shinobi.
They're all on sale right now for like $2, except Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, which who the fuck cares? Because Origins Plus is about to come out. But if you have a Switch and you like Genesis games, get the M2 Sega Aegis ports.
Because they're great ports. They don't cut any corners or anything. Getting them on there. They add things like in Phantasy Star. They added a map for when you traverse the dungeons because you traverse the dungeons in a first-person view. It's not top-down. And before you had no map, you had to create a map. So that's pretty great. They also included the FM add-on from the Mark III, so you get the FM music as well as the original, and it's like amazing.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome. But I also saw there was some other new M2 ports I didn't know about. This one just came out pretty recently, though. Apparently.
Well, what?
Yeah, the Phantasy Star one. I guess it came out like 2 weeks ago or something.
No, that's not true. I've had it longer than that.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
No, they actually sadly, like a year or two ago, someone asked Sega, "Hey, are you guys going to release any more of those M2 ports on the Switch, and they're like, no, we have no plans to release any more of those. And everyone was like, I'm fucking stupid, because they released like Herzog's Y and something else out of left field, and everyone was like, oh, are you going to start releasing a bunch of cool, interesting, weird stuff instead of Sonic again? And they said, no, we're done.
Well, I was going to say they did port like 2 or 3 games that are like kind of unknown. Like
Alex Kidd is one.
Yeah, Alex Kidd. Another one is this game I can't remember the name of. It's something Japanese, I'm pretty sure, but they still put it out. Some kind of weird party arcade game or something.
They did the weird Master System Puyo Puyo as well.
Yeah, Fantasy Zone's another good one. The big one I saw though was Columns 2. And there's Columns. It's like that weird little puzzle game on Genesis.
Yeah.
There was Columns and there was Columns 3. They skipped 2. That's because 2 was only in arcades. It never got a home release.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I remember having Columns 3 on the Game Gear.
Yeah, I had it on the Game Gear as well. It was it came as a pack-in.
Yeah, Columns. They did Columns 2, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy that just on principle, just because you can't play it.
It's $2. Why not?
Played all 3.
But
that's great.
Yeah, I was fixing to actually jump back into playing Phantasy Star 2, but now I just bought this new version of it, of the first game, so I might play it instead.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much else I got into. Pretty much it.
I wanted to shout out the M2 port of Outrun on the Switch. Also
amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Get that. I command you. The Great Lord commands that you get Outrun on Switch.
It has all the tracks to play, and they added all the tracks from the arcade. It's so cool. It's got it all.
All right, Chaz, you're up.
Yeah, so as far as watching stuff, I had also watched the first 2 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. So the Magnum TA was the second episode. The first episode was Chris Candido and Tammy Sitch, or Sonny, and goes through their career. Man, that was such a tragic story. It felt rough too. Like they get Jim Cornette to do a lot on these shows, and again, Jim Cornette is a character. Man wears his emotions on his sleeve, and that's why he's so entertaining. I don't think I've ever seen him so upset in talking about this episode. He gets so frazzled talking about this because he's the one that helped discover and put Chris Candido on the map, and his story is so tragic. If you don't know, pretty classic thing of guy that's not like the biggest person in the world, finally gets his big break, but then it kind of gets cast aside in wrestling, ends up, because wrestling's such a hard thing where you're doing all of these things and basically killing yourself out there for fans. He ends up with some issues with addiction. After several years, like kind of just getting washed up, he gets himself cleaned up, and shortly after getting cleaned up, gets on a run in TNA and is getting back out there. And then in a title match, he makes a false step, like to try to like avoid being caught on camera, like missing or taking a bump, and he breaks his leg. And he has surgery, but everything seems like it's going to be well. And he is determined that he wants to show up as soon as possible after the surgery. So he shows up after the surgery to like the next pay-per-view event to be there, and flies across country basically after a surgery. He gets a blood clot, gets a pulmonary embolism, and dies.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking tragic.
Yeah.
And it especially for someone who actually turned his life, like had already like made it once, could have been satisfied with it, but then like hit a low, started to turn his life around, and then that's how it ends.
That was what Cornette says. He was so dedicated to the wrestling business, he killed him.
Yeah, literally let it kill him. It is so heartbreaking. It was really good. It was a really good watch. And then the stuff about Tammy Sitch is also interesting too, because man, she is quite the fox, and I mean that in terms of in reference to our show earlier. She is a manipulative person, and also if you don't know, she's went out and done a lot of really rough things, had several DUIs, and then she ended up committing involuntary manslaughter when she killed someone after driving under the influence. So she's gonna be in prison for a while.
She was also a fox back in the day. in
She
terms of
was.
looks. She was the
That-
most downloaded woman on the internet back in like 1996 or 7.
That is very true. Yes, she also was a looker, but she used that to her advantage. But that all said, both of those episodes are really good. I think episode 3 actually comes out tonight, so I'll probably check it out after.
Yeah, I think that's Adrian Adonis, or it's either that or it's the the Graham family one.
Okay, that'll be really good. As far as other things to watch, so remember that time you told me to watch something else other than like the typical white bread animes? Nah, I got on Crunchyroll and Dragon Ball Z was on, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much of this they have. Nope, they have the whole fucking series in English.
Yeah, you better
dub.
watch. I'm sure you've never seen Dragon Ball Z before.
Yep, never watched it. So I have already finished both the Saiyan and I literally finished the Frieza saga today.
Oh my god!
So that's like 90. Hey, you know what's funny? I remember as a kid thinking, "Dear God, he took 10 years to make that spirit bomb," or like all this shit took forever. Listen, it is a 300 episode anime, and and Saiyan saga and Frieza saga happen in the first 100. Like it is only 1/3 of it. That Android saga is gonna make like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to make another child in the time that it's gonna take me to watch the Android saga.
Well, yeah, but you need to
Jesus
watch it back to
Christ.
back to back to back to back. When we were kids, we had to wait till next week.
Week or I think when I watched it before, like because of how it was airing, it was like every day. It was like Monday through
Yeah,
Friday.
Tsunami did it like every day, and I
Yeah.
remember every
Yeah.
once in a while on the weekend they would like show everything to catch you up.
But not just that. When it was new, we'd have to wait every week. But then the story would not continue, and it would start all over. And then now you're waiting months.
yeah.
Months.
Oh, yeah, that got
The Dark
frustrating.
Ages.
I remember that happened like right smack in the middle of the Boo saga, which already was kind of frustrating. And I was thinking, oh well, this will clearly happen. And they're building up the whole Gohan thing, and then some bullshit happens, and Boo just absorbs someone else, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I was so fucking mad. And then it like went to the thing where like we're gonna start over, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
what?
this starts at Kame house, and I'm like, what the fuck? No.
It's like, what? No, what happens? Is they gonna save him? And then, of course, like you finally get that weird resolution where they turn Vegito into a piece of chocolate, and he's a fighting
Vegito.
piece of candy. Yeah, and then bullshit happens, and he turns into a kid, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna blow the planet up." Man, I tell you what, nothing made me angrier than that 11-year-old me sitting there trying to watch that on my hijack direct TV chip thing, and then like early 2000s, late 90s. So fucking mad. But I loved it. So anyway, we're gonna get there. Like in a couple weeks, I'll be done because I've already in a week I've already watched a third of it. So I'll burn through all that shit real quick. Video game wise, the only thing I have played, if I've played anything, has been Street Fighter. Doing some labbing. I finally got the pieces to adjust my fight stick. Got all the little details there. I adjusted the spring so it's heavier, and I have an 8-way instead of a 4-way gate, so things are good there. I got new flashy buttons to match the stick, so it's all green, so it looks cool. And went on the line and thought, oh, it's finally time. The stick seems like it works well, even though I probably should play with controller. I'll play with the stick, and decided I'll jump in. And I was doing pretty well in casual games, so I was like, okay, this is fine. Let's play some ranked. And I ranked in iron, which is lower than bronze. I got my ass beat a couple times because when you're unranked, they just pair you against whoever. And I got my ass beat by some platinums, and I guess they just thought that was ruthless, and they're like, "You fucking suck." So then I proceeded to like play. I think I played like 50 after I did placement matches. I played like 50 or so matches, and I had like a 60 like +% win rate, like probably closer to 70. And I climbed all the way out, and I actually got right at the peak of getting to silver, and then I lost my placement match for silver. So I'm in the high bronze now, but so I'm just grinding through. But the stick works great. I love how it moves. I probably still am a little better with the controller because this is the first time I've really set myself to just like adjust and play with the stick, but especially with grapplers. It's not as cool, but also the grapplers just play better. Like for me, at least with that, like it plays better. And then once you get used to it, it's good. It's one of those things I've always wanted to do anyway. Like I'd be curious to go back and play Dragon Ball Fighter Z with it to see how well I would adjust because, again, the games are just different. One thing I'm trying to get used to, especially in ranked, is people just finding ways to just like again, it's like cheap techniques of just trying to like spam the impact kick.
Drive impacts.
Yeah, and just trying to again. It's really easy to go in the lab and training and just learn like combos and other stuff and like, but neutral's a big part of Street Fighter. It's not just a combo heavy game. You have to know how to do the neutral. You have to know how to parry. So I'm still adjusting to that on the stick. I'd finally gotten those things down on a controller, but I'm not reacting quickly enough on the stick, which is a big reason why I'm losing the matches I do. But I'll get there. It's a work in progress. My goal actually is in rank to only play with Mono and only to play with the stick. So it literally is just a representation of what I'm doing with those rather than anything else. And so far, I haven't busted a blood vessel yet, so that's good.
So far, so good.
I'm waiting for you to be like Dubs and be like, I hate this fucking game. I quit.
No, it hasn't happened yet. Although I will say my blood was boiling a few times playing some modern players who are playing Zangief, who I very clearly know they are hitting one button to do the 720 finisher. Because all their goal is to bully you into a corner, hit the drive impact, and then they just use their level 3 finisher. That's actually pretty frustrating. But again, it's a game. Whatever, it's fine. I've pulled some neat wins. I've stolen some games. I've gotten a couple perfect wins. So I mean, I've had my fair share of bullshittery too.
When in doubt, be cheap. If they back you in a corner like that, it's fucking cheap, man.
Yeah, it's true. Among other things, the last thing I did, so I played in a Pokemon trading card game event. There was this weekend actually is when the new set Paldea Evolved officially dropped.
Did you beat like 30 kids and then leave that one kid laying on the ground and you like put your knee on his back and force him to apologize because everybody else lost?
Apologize now.
Did you do
close?
That?
It was close. He's technically an adult. He can register to vote. So yeah, we have enough people that are involved that we don't have to play with kids anymore. We have Masters Division, so I did that to a grown man. But I've opened about 300 packs of the new set, and between trading and all the packs I've opened, I have finished the new Secret Art set already, which is a record because I did that the first weekend it's out, which I'm pretty impressed with. But I also played in the event and won the event and used that to then open more things. And then on a random chance today, I went and hung out with Andy earlier, actually. And there's the pharmacy near his house actually just randomly had these weird packs, which normally are bullshit, but they had one of the packs that's like it's like bloated in price because everyone wants to open certain chase cards in it. So for value, it was pretty good. And so I proceeded to go, you know what? Impulse, let's buy these. So I did. And then we proceeded to crack those open. And I opened some of those rainbow cards I'm looking for. So that was pretty cool.
Rainbow, bright month.
Yeah. I love me some Bud Light Pokemon. You should put Happy Pride Month. It's our pride flag right there. But yeah, that's largely been it. I was gonna like. It's funny. It's worth saying because I didn't end up doing it. Andy let me borrow a series of movies or films called The Human Condition, which and I've yet to start it. A couple different reasons.
I was bracing myself. I was like, do we have to have this conversation now? We're already running long.
No, we're good. I didn't start it. He just keeps showing that. I didn't start it at all. But what happened was, I can't remember what part of the Dragon Ball stuff I was in. And to be fair, like the Dragon Ball thing, how that started was I'm opening so many packs and I'm organizing and stuff. It's fodder. It's something I've already watched once, but I can still watch and appreciate. It's funny watching it with all these samurai movies, seeing all of like the little things that come from that and characterizations that come that are, homages to the films that inspired them. But nevertheless, I stared at the case of Human Condition for probably 10 minutes, took a deep breath and said, not yet, and put it back on the shelf. So I'm not ready. But eventually.
You'll never be ready.
It's going to hurt. I just
You'll
need to
never be
Band-Aid.
ready for The Human Condition.
I'm going to play it up too much, but seriously, I don't know if you're going to be ready to watch The Human Condition.
I'm ready.
Unless you have cocaine.
Dubs
last time you did that, you scared the shit out of me because it popped up on screen in the middle of us talking. Oh, Jesus!
But anything else, Jez? Any games? Any other things?
No, I think that was
All right.
That was it.
All right, Andy, you said you had some news. What was the news?
I
you
had a
wanted to
tiny
bring up?
news thing. I actually, because I follow weirdos on Twitter, I actually kind of had a scoop on this. But yeah, that was earlier in the day. Have you guys been to McDonald's recently?
No.
Well, they're celebrating the Grimace's birthday right now. You know, the great big autistic purple thing.
The big purple turd, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's his birthday right now. And to celebrate, they made a website, Happy Birthday Grimace or Grimace's birthday or something. And of course, at the store they have like a purple milkshake and a bunch of bullshit on all the packages. Whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. They made a website, and it looks like a website like from the mid to early 90s. I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to go for. Huh?
Is it like GeoCities and?
Yeah, it's got like some shitty little gifs on it and stuff. But the middle of it is a game. It's a game that they programmed just to celebrate Grimace's birthday. It's like Grimace's birthday adventure or something like that. Well, someone really clever downloaded the game because it looks like a Game Boy game and it's got like, blocky graphics and it just looks like a regular Game Boy Color game. So someone downloaded it. It is a Game Boy Color game. You can download the ROM and put it onto like a chip to put in actual hardware. You can put it in a Game Boy Color and it plays. It's a Game Boy Color game that someone programmed specifically for the Grimace's birthday. It even, if you put it in a regular Game Boy or a Super Game Boy, they even programmed a screen that says this game is only made for Game Boy Color devices. And it's the Grimace going, well, I guess you can't play this game in this. But no, it's an actual Game Boy Color game and it fits on a cartridge and it plays in original hardware. So McDonald's, weird, for no reason at all, released a brand new Game Boy Color game in the year of our Lord 2023.
That's awesome. That's kind of awesome, actually.
He's autistic and purple.
Even though he's autistic and purple, but he goes on an adventure and it's a brand new Game Boy game. Like, I hate giving kudos to like corporate marketing stuff. It makes me feel like a stooge. But God damn it, that's cool. I don't care who you are. That's pretty fucking cool right there. The fact that someone went out of their way to make sure it would play on original hardware and then told no one. It's so cool. I love it.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, but that was my piece of news. I just wanted to bring that to as many people's attention as
maybe it'll get a limited run someday.
That would be cool. I'd be down for that. And what they should do is they should have it at stores and it should be like, buy 2 Grimace meals and add, $10, $20, you get a Game Boy card or something. I mean, I know that's like outside of the realm of realism, but that's cool as hell.
They should do like what they did with you remember when they did the Pokemon ball with the little gold-plated
hell yeah,
it was Burger King.
Yeah, I got all those.
Yeah, they should do that with the game and just be like,
Burger King had Xbox 360 games too. Like,
yeah.
There's a precedent for this.
Fucking Sneak King.
I still own Sneak King. I had Sneak King and Pocket Bike Racers. I never got Big Bumpin' though.
And Doritos did a thing with the fucking dinosaur, if you remember.
Dorito Pope.
But there's a precedent set for this. But I mean how could they market that? Come get a Game Boy Color game at fucking McDonald's. Everyone's gonna say Game Boy what? A bunch
of middle-aged weirdos will show up.
Exactly. A bunch of fat white guys are gonna turn. We're gonna get the Grimace game.
I have to say this: if you could fucking make chaos over Szechuan sauce from fucking Rick and Morty.
They would underestimate it. They would send like 3 copies to every McDonald's and like, it's more than enough. And then they get run over by fucking gross nerds.
It's funny, Dubs. You said that. It's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, I can see that quarterly meeting. They're like, guys, we're losing in demographics. 30-year-old white men are not coming to McDonald's anymore. They're drinking craft beer and they're trying to take care of themselves. What do we do? And they're like, bring back Szechuan sauce and just make this really obscure ass 90s Game Boy Color game. You'll get them all. There it is.
Yeah, they'll be like, first they'd be like, well, I have this Game Boy Color idea. That's bullshit. But we had people come with sauce before. What if we combine those two?
How can we exploit this crowd again?
Yeah. Oh man.
No, they did it. They got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I had a little bit of news. It's something I found out just like probably like 10 minutes before the show, but it's kind of neat. So Evo 23 is gonna be happening in August. Of course, competitive fighting event. It's a big showcase. They have officially announced that even though it won't be in the tournament, of course, they are going to be doing like extensive showcasing of Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 will be fully playable while there, so anyone in attendance can play the full game and try out to all of their heart's content in depth because it'll be really close to the release. And they're going to do a premiere showcase with it, so they'll probably have some top fighters play, and they'll probably broadcast and stream that. So that's really cool. I thought that was neat that they're going to get that publicity out there, so the hype's there. But Street Fighter's still going to be ruling the roost there. I mean, that's going to be a huge showcase for as far as gaming goes. But yeah, thought that was neat.
All we need is a Soul Calibur game, and all the fighting games are aligned because you got Tekken.
But okay,
you got Tekken, you got Soul Calibur. Oh, not Soul Calibur. You got fucking Mortal Kombat now. You know, Street Fighter's out. I would love some Soul Calibur.
Can't have it. The Fire Nation attacked.
They're too busy working on Tekken.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's Air Temple's dead, so you can get
fighting games aren't back until a new Bloody Roar comes out.
We just need a Weeaboo game. Actually, if we want to get way out there and include like the Autistic Dojo, they are making that new Dragon Ball Tenkaichi game.
That's right.
So we are getting the fourth pillar. Yeah, there you go. There it is. I didn't get you.
Super Smash Brothers Switch 2. I don't know.
No, Super Smash Brothers is just a really weird loose take that went too far on a Mario Party mini game, and here we are.
Yeah,
and it's also not a fighting game. I'm sorry.
I love those people. Still.
Whoa, hot take!
Bless their little hearts.
A bunch of white guys on a podcast on the internet are going to debate whether or not Smash Brothers is a fighting game. Stay tuned, folks.
Well, there's no debate. It's not.
Just
the
leave this guy.
Game ever made.
I'm making.
You've been playing it wrong. That's why you think that.
You don't smell like me, Zach.
That's probably the most accurate statement so far.
Yeah. Zach,
you trying to get me to plug this, getting some color?
That is my new favorite argument now. If someone says something to me in an argument, I'm just gonna yell, "You don't smell like me."
Dog.
Zach, did you have any news?
No, I had no news. I just wanted to plug our get some color for Thursday.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we covering?
We're gonna watch WCW Spring Stampede from April 17th, 1994, and yeah, it's a little spring pay-per-view, and WWF Monday Night Raw from April 25th, 1994. We just got done watching WrestleMania 10, and it was a good show. Two of the probably most influential matches in modern era took place on that show. So we spent a lot of time talking about both of them.
It's funny because we were like, we're just gonna do one pay-per-view at a time, and to like cut down to 3-hour talk. We ended up talking 3 hours for WrestleMania 10.
Well, it's because it was WrestleMania 10, and like I said, two of the most influential matches in the last 30, 40 fucking years happened on that show.
Sorry, if we're gonna cover and talk about one of my favorite matches of all time, we're gonna talk for a while.
We're gonna talk for a while.
We're gonna talk for a minute, yeah.
Yeah.
A Bret Hart match is happening. I'm gonna break down everything.
Wait, 30-year-old white man like Bret Hart? Shit.
Some don't. Some fucking think he sucks.
Yeah, with fucking smooth brains, I can't help it.
If any of our listeners want to make fun of these idiots, I'll be in the chat and I'll be there helping.
Talk. But yeah, the only news I have is that like Starfield is people are pissed off about 60 frames per second, and I'm just like, fuck off.
Fuck.
Like these guys didn't complain when Ghost of Tsushima, whatever, how do you fuck you say that name, was like 30 frames per second, and Fallout 4 was 30 frames per second. Now all of a sudden everything needs to be fucking 60 and 120, and fuck it, fuck you guys.
I mean, don't get me wrong, shit's beautiful when it runs that way, but listen, people played Fallout 76 and that shit was like -8 frames per second.
That's frames from you.
Marble. Yeah. Fucking.
I don't care about any of this shit. I want to see in 64-bit color. When am I going to be able to do that? All this other shit doesn't matter until I can finally see things in 64-bit color.
I set it to CMG collar or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've yet to play a game that made me taste purple. So until that happens, gaming has not peaked.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that Grimace
That's where we're
fucking
at.
game will do that.
Maybe that's the one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
you should advertise it. You should play this. You could taste purple.
This is what a Big Mac would taste like. It was purple.
Actually, hear me out. Hear me out real quick. If anyone is listening, even remote chances could happen.
Call the police.
Perfect. They should re-release Szechuan sauce, but not call it that. They should dye it purple and call it Grimace sauce.
Gross.
Grimace goo.
Spooched in a little packet.
Take it to a weird place.
You called it Grimace goo. What the fuck?
I got a Grimace sauce. He took it and made it his seed.
It's Grimace sauce.
No, I did an alliteration. That's called marketing.
Autism
marketing.
awareness sauce.
You don't shoot your sauce into females? I mean, that's what people do,
Who are you
man.
marketing Grimace goo to? Pedophiles. Grimace goo.
Jared from Subway.
Yeah.
People
I mean,
like
30-year-old
nuggets.
weirdos.
they'll eat it. Yeah, chicken nuggets and kids eat nuggets. So never mind. Let's not promote that. That's weird. Yeah. That South Park episode. Everyone's equal, including the pedophiles.
Yes. Jared from
Yeah.
Subway.
They have an
Wait.
equal chance of dying by my hand.
What a way to end the show. This is a weird
Yes.
place to be in.
Grimace goo. Let's end this episode.
Oh.
Grimace goo and pedophile executions.
Oh, did
The
someone
end.
say
Cut.
executions?
Yes.
This is how we feel about pedophilia.
I had to use it once more.
Pride Month.
I need a
Look at
palate
that guy's
cleanser.
face. Oh, there it is. There it is. It bounces out.
All right. Guys, if you want to catch more of Big Trouble Little Podcast, make sure you catch us on all podcast services. We're also on Big Trouble Little Podcast and Couch Entertainments, which, by the way, getting some color has been getting some views on Couch Entertainments, by the way. So thank you. And also, Big Trouble is also getting views compared to our Big Trouble Little Podcast YouTube channel. So I guess
Watch it wherever you guys want to watch it. That's fine.
yes, and like and subscribe. But until I won't see you guys next week, you'll see these guys, and it's going to be a surprise movie or whatever they're going to watch. So see you in 2 weeks, but see these guys next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening.
I have a question for God. Why?